8 questions and I want to see that which of them are measuring which dimension. So normally what we do, we go to analyze dimension reduction factor. We select all these, and when we go for factor extraction, by default it's principal component. We leave it as it is and we continue. And finally, what we do, that we end up in doing some error. Because see, I have already told dimension reduction or factor analysis. This is done in two steps. First one is the factor extraction, second one is the factor rotation. Now, factor extraction, what I told is it can be done by two methods, that is the principal component analysis and exploratory factor analysis. Now comes the question which method to choose, because most of the time we go for just dimension reduction factor analysis. By default it is chosen principal component analysis and we go for it. However, there is some logic behind doing the principal component analysis and exploratory factor analysis, and both are principal component analysis and exploratory factor analysis, both are the methods of dimension reduction. Both will yield you the almost same results, but the way they function or the logic behind using them is pretty different. And that is based on the variance partition. How we partition the variance. So if total variance is explained by a common variance, there are two kind of variances, common variance and the unique variance. So I'll show you. Okay. So we have common variance and total variance. If total variance is explained by the common variance, there is no unique variance. Like if you see, we have all these 8 questions, and all these 8 questions share a common variance, that they are explaining the anxiety towards SPSS anxiety. This is a case of common variance. There is no unique variance. All are telling anxiety towards SPSS. Then in that case, we can go for uh, principal component analysis. However, if the total variance is explained by the common variance and the unique variance, both by common variance and there is also some unique variance, then uh, you can say that this, in that case, you will apply exploratory factor analysis, EFA. Like if you see all these questions, statistics makes me cry. My friends will think I'm stupid for not being able to cope with SPSS. Standard deviations excite me. I dream that Pearson is attacking me with correlation coefficients. I don't understand statistics. I have little experience of computers. All computers hate me. I have never been good at mathematics. All these are telling anxiety towards SPSS. So anxiety towards SPSS is explained by all these 8 statements, and they share a common variance. Means the total variance is explained by the common variance. But if you see, all computers hate me. This statement also tells about anxiety about computers, apart from, in addition to telling you anxiety about SPSS, it is also the seventh statement. It is also telling you about anxiety about computers, using computers. So this is a unique variance. So if the total variance is explained by the common variance, then you go for PCA. If total variance is explained by common variance plus unique variance, is what I mean to say. If 100% variance is explained by the common variance, Then PCA, if 100% is not explained by the common variance, there is also some unique variance, and both combinedly are able to explain the 100% variance. Means when you have all unique variance also, then you should go for EFA. However, both are the method that will give you the same scores, same thing, but the method or the situation under which they are used, that is different. So normally we conduct PCA and name it EFA. No, EFA is something different. So all comes under the factor analysis, all comes under the dimension reduction, but based on the variance partition, both the methodology differs. So one is the principal component analysis and another one is common fact, this exploratory factor analysis. So you can say is if you look at this figure and here also there is a total variance, okay, and in all the items they share a common variance. But if these items could be further explained by some unique variances, then it will become a case of EFA. Now, these unique variances are again of two types, specific variance and error variance. A specific variance is something which is very unique or which is very unique to explain that particular item, and error variance is something which cannot be explained, so you leave it at as it is. So once again, I am explaining you this common variance and the unique variance. So total variance, you understand the total 100% of the variance that is explained means about SPSS anxiety. So common variance is the amount of variance that is shared among the set of items. So all these items, these are sharing a common variance that they are explaining SPSS anxiety. So if items are highly correlated, then they will share a lot of variance. If these items are highly correlated with each other, then they will share a lot of common variance. Then we have something called commonality, denoted by H square. So it is the common variance that ranges from 0 to 1. So values closer to 1 suggested that the factors that you have extracted explain more of the variance of an individual item. So if you will do if you look at it, if you will do principal component analysis where common variance is explaining the total variance, there is no unique variance. This H square will become 1. Okay, commonality will be close to 1. Then unique variance is any portion of variance that is not shared commonly among these items. Okay, and they are of two types. That is the further they are divided into specific variance and the error variance. So specific variance is the variance that is specific to a particular item. Like we have said that all computers hate me. Okay. This statement, this may have variance that is attributable to anxiety about computers in addition to anxiety about SPSS. So this is the specific variance which is telling a kind of unique variance, a part of unique variance, then that is known as specific variance, which is specific to a particular item. See, all the items here share the common variance that they are explaining you the anxiety towards SPSS, but one of the item, that is the item number 7, that all computers hate me, okay, it is also explaining some unique variance, and that is it also tells you about anxiety towards computers. So this is the specific variance. Error variance comes from the errors of measurement, and basically anything that is unexplained by the common or the specific variance is known as the error variance. Okay. Anything that goes unexplained, let's say out of 100%, 80% is explained both by the common variance and the unique variance, remaining 20% remains unexplained, means a reason is unexplained. Okay, then in that case it is known as the error variance. So based on the variances partition, you will decide whether you should go for the principal component analysis or you should go for the exploratory factor analysis. So first step in doing the factor analysis is factor extraction, and then second one is the factor rotation. Now I was telling you something about, just 1 minute. So if you are going for principal component analysis, means the total variance is explained by the common variance. In that case, commonality will be equal to 1. I have already told you commonality ranges from 0 to 1. Since total variance is explained by common variance, there is no unique variance at all, so commonality will be equal to 1. So remember that in principal component analysis there is no unique variance. Okay, so common variance is alone able to explain the total variance. So now let's see how we will do this principal component analysis in SPSS. So hopefully now you are clear about what is the difference between principal component analysis and exploratory factor analysis. So analyze, go to analyze, then dimension reduction factor, select all your variables, be it items that I want to do. Now I will go first. I'll go to descriptive. So leave at it is right now as it is. First, go for extraction. So extraction by default it's principal component means PCA. If you have to do EFA, then you will go for principal access factor, which most of the time we don't do. We just by default let principal component selected and we say that we have done EFA. However, in our case, as of now, we are doing PCA. So we'll choose this principal component analysis, unrotated factor solution, discrete plot, then eigenvalues. Now, what is eigenvalues? See, eigenvalues are the total variance explained by the given principal component. And if eigenvalues are greater than 0, then your model is considered to be fit, or they are said to be desirable. Negative eigenvalues, if eigenvalues are negative, are having negative scores, then your model is ill conditioned. And if your eigenvalues is close to 0, then it will be a case of multicollinearity. Even in regression, I have told that eigenvalues should be, for a good fit, eigenvalues should be greater than 1. So here we want to extract those factors which have eigenvalues greater than 1. Then as of now, since we have 8 components, so let's take all the 8 components. I'm not taking based on eigenvalues. I want to have fixed number of factors to extract. Means I want to extract all the 8 items that I have taken. Maximum number of iterations, by default it's 25. Let's keep it to the higher limit so that we always get good results. 100. Continue. And as of now we are only doing extraction, so there is nothing called rotation. We won't be doing rotation. Click on this. So here you will get something called scree plot. Okay, so commonalities, you can see the h square that we have seen. In both the cases it is 1, the initial also and the extracted. Why? Because we extracted all the 8 items that we were having. So the initial values of commonalities and extracted value of the commonalities, both in case of extraction also, it is close to, it is 1. Okay. Now, it will give you a component matrix also, which is a kind of, you can say, correlation matrix, and these values, uh, and Also, let's do one correlation matrix to see whether it's a good fit for doing principal component analysis or factor analysis or not. So simply go to correlate bivariate, select all, and here's some correlation. See, look at the table. If you look at the table, you will find that we have correlations ranging from minimum one. Let's see what is it. So we can have a correlation ranging from minus 0.337 to 331. In some cases, you will have correlation close to zero point 0.5 also. Means if there is a high variability in the correlations, you can say that it is a good fit for doing the principal component analysis. You can see that you have R values, yeah, ranging from minus 0.337 to, in some cases, point up to zero point 0.5. I think we will be getting 0.514. Okay, so you can see that due to relatively high correlations among items, this would be a good candidate for factor analysis. Now we have done this PCA using all the 8 components. We have extracted all the 8 components. So eigenvalues, this communality in case of both the initial and the extraction, both will be 1. Now just see, these are the eigenvalues. So I have told that eigenvalue should be greater than 1 for a good fit. Okay. For the first component, eigenvalues is 3.057. For the second component, eigenvalues is 1.067. And see this scree plot. Can you make any assumption by seeing this scree plot? Anybody? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you see the scree plot, can you see some pattern change in this scree plot? You can, at least you can have observation and tell me. Anyways, suddenly after 2, you can see there is an inflection, right? Is this clear? Is this visible to you? After 2, from the point 2, there is suddenly a inflection happening,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So scree plot tells you that finally how many factors you need to generate. Okay, you need to extract. And if you see in our this eigenvalues, after first 2, if you see, all the eigenvalues are less than 1 also. Can you see this? I have told that for a good fit, you should have eigenvalues more than 1. And you can see that after the first and the second component, all the eigenvalues are less than 1. Scree plot is also telling you that you have to extract. two factors, because after that there is an influx. The scree plot tells you whenever you will plot a scree plot after the point of inflection, the point at which it is inflexing or it is going flat or it is going downwards, you have to mark that point and only that number of factors has to be extracted. And if you see from the this total variance explained table also, you can see that eigenvalues, the initial eigenvalues after component 2, one is for 1 it's 3.057, for 2 it's 1.067. After this it is below 1. So, and below 1 is not desirable. So we will extract finally only two factors. First thing, only these two factors will be able to explain 51% of the variance. Out of this 51% of the variance, you can see that first one is able to explain 38% of the variance, whereas second one is able to explain 13% of the variance. Now, here you have got the component matrix also. So, though as of now we need not to look into this, but let me tell you, if you add the squares of all these values, you can do it after this session, you can try it. If you add the squares of all these values, finally you will get the same thing, that is the eigenvalue. You will get this value 3.057. Okay. However, we need only at this step to identify that out of these 8, how many factors we want to extract. So scree plot will tell you that you need to extract two factors, and you can cross validate with your this table total variance explained that these two only are able, these two alone are able to explain 51% of the variance. And after that, since eigenvalues are less than 1, so other components are not usable. So we will go for extracting two variables, two factors only. Means all 8 we have to converge into 2. Now let's see how we can do it. So now this will be called running a principal component analysis with two components. Now let's run the principal component analysis with two components in SPSS. So go to analyze again and dimension reduction factor analysis. Select all these. In extraction, now again select the fixed number of factors as 2. Maximum iterations for convergence will be this much, 100. Continue. Okay. Now you see that all these factors, all these 8 statements have been loaded into two components. All having the value above 0.5. All value having value above 0.5. They will be, you can say, loaded into one component. So can you please tell me that which of these statements or which of the item will load into component 1? Now, yes, also see the total variance explained. You have the two components as we got that these two components are able to explain the 51%, mean more than half of the variance. So we will keep them and only two components we need. Now, all those 8 items have converged into two components and we will take values more than 0.5. So can you tell me that which are the components that have converged into, which of these statements have converged into component 1?
Sir, 1.
Just let me keep a note. So component 1, okay, which one?
Variable 1.
Variable 1.
4.
4.
Sir, do we have to see the sign?
If negative sign, then of course we have to drop it.
Then we will not consider it.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
1 4.
5.
5.
7.
And 1 4 5 above 0.5. See, 6 is also there, no?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. 6. 6 also.
6, 7, and 8.
8.
And in component 2,
2.
second one, right?
Yes, sir. 1 item only.
Only one item, nothing else, right? So, if you see the item 1, statistics make me cry. Item 4, I dream that Pearson is attacking me with correlation coefficient. Item 5, I don't understand statistics. Item 6, I have little experience of computers. Okay. Item 7, all computers hate me. And item 8, I have never been good at mathematics. All these are showing fear towards statistics. Whereas component 2, my friends will think I am stupid for not being able to cope with SPSS. This component is showing what it is measuring. See, component 1, if you see all the items of component 1, they are measuring fear towards statistics. Only component in component 2, only one item that is measuring fear towards SPSS. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So we can say that out of the 8, we found 2 components where one component is a fear towards statistics, another component is a fear towards SPSS. Out of our 8 items, okay, item number 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are measuring component 1, that is fear. Let me keep it like that, is fear towards statistics. And let it name it as fear towards SPSS. So I can say that item 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are able to measure fear towards statistics. So if I want to keep, if I want to measure fear towards statistics, that which is our component 1, we will use item 1, 4, 5, 6, and 8. If you have to, the item 2 is able to measure the fear towards SPSS. If I have to measure this component fear towards SPSS, then this could be measured by the item 2. And item 3, I think only item 3 is the only item that is not usable at all. Standard deviations excite me, right? We will drop it. So this is the statement, or this is the item which is not usable at all. So from our questionnaires, we will drop it. We will retain only item 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for measuring the first component fear towards statistics, and we will use item number 2 to measure the component 2, which is fear towards SPSS. Overall, these two components will measure anxiety towards SPSS, which was our main variable. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Sir, in the matrix, these values are correlation values.
Where, sir?
Sir, in this component matrix, All these
Ah,
values, these are
uh,
correlation values.
yes, normally it's a correlation. It's written component matrix, but it calculates actually the inter-item correlations.
Okay, sir.
So higher will be the correlation, and yes, negative values we don't take here. So standard deviations excite me. Let me tell you why it is showing like this, that why it has been dropped. See, all the questions are measuring fear towards statistics or SPSS. Standard deviation excite me. This is a reverse question, right? That's why it is getting a negative value and it is not usable. When you are measuring anxiety, then how come standard deviation, which is a kind of statistics, could excite you? If you are putting such question, mean that question is not valid, isn't it?
Good evening, sir. I need
Yes.
to ask one question here. Sir, what are these two components?
Fear towards
Can you?
statistics and fear towards SPSS.
Okay, okay, okay.
I
Thank
have
you.
written it here.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
See what happens. This SPSS won't tell you that what are your components. You have to see that when you have taken all these statements which are converging to one component, they are indicating in which direction, what actually they are telling you. So if I see the item 1 statistics makes me cry, item 4 I dream that Pearson is attacking me with correlation coefficients, item 5 I don't understand statistics, and all these are converging to component 1. So I can name the component 1 as fear towards statistics. Similarly, if I see component two, only this second one item converging on component two, so which is about my friends will think I am stupid for not being able to cope with SPSS. I can keep it as fear towards SPSS also, or you can fear from peer pressure. You can put like this also, based on what it is actually indicating to. And we can say that the second item is measuring the second component, fear from peer pressure or fear from SPSS, whatever you want to name it. And finally, you can say that combinedly these two will measure our main variable, that is the anxiety towards SPSS, because this is known as the SPSS anxiety questionnaire. Okay, so the main variable under study was anxiety towards SPSS. Item number three is not usable at all, so we have dropped it because it is having a negative value. Yeah, on the first component, on the second component, it is having less than values from less than 0.5 values. We will drop it. So in both the cases, it is not usable. It is not loading properly on any of the component. So we will drop it. So the usable out of it, the usable items are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Where 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are converging to component 1, which we have named as fear towards statistics. Component item 2 is converging towards this component 2, which we have named it fear from peer pressure. If you want to name it as, because this seems more logical that my friend to put it as fear from peer pressure, that my friends will think I'm stupid for not being able to cope with SPSS. So finally we have got our items which are divided into two components. Are you able to get this?
Sir, we always take two components.
Sorry.
Like you have taken two components here. So is it necessary that we have to take only two components in this
See,
calculation?
that's what I am saying. You have to look at the scree plot. Initial extraction, when you will do, you have to look at the scree plot, that after how many points there is an inflection. So you can see
Okay.
after two there is an inflection, right?
Yes, sir.
Number one, cross validate with these eigenvalues. So I already told that we should take values only that much component which have eigenvalues more than one. After the
Okay.
second one, you can see the eigenvalues are less than
Less.
one.
Yes,
And
sir.
even if these two are able to explain around 50, more than 50% of the variance, see, First one is explaining 38%, second one is explaining 13%. Then why you need to proceed more for more? You have to take two components.
Okay. Okay.
So that all
Thank you.
depends upon this Scri plot and this eigenvalues and how much total variance is explained. Based on that, you will take a decision that how many components you have to take. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So look at this Scri plot while doing initial. And you can see also one more thing. When I did factor extraction for all the 8 for having a initial check that how much component I need. See, the initial commonalities and extraction commonalities are the same. But the moment I chose that out of these 8, I will divide them into 2 components only. You can see the initial values, extraction values, and the initial values of commonalities have changed. So again, if you will just uh, add all these values, okay, you will get the if you take all these, this is 0.4, how much it is? Yeah. So if you take a square of all these values, again you will get the total eigenvalues. So you can do it later on. We need not to look into this. Only we have to see that the after extraction, the commonality value should change. Okay. When we have taken all the 8 values, then only it was, since all 8 divided into 8 components, then only initial values and extraction values were same, means h square is equal to 1, that is the commonality, and I have already said when commonality is equal to 1, that means that total variance is explained, commonality is equal to h square is equal to 1 when total variance is explained by the common variance. So here, total variance, you can see only we are able to explain 51% only. So some of the variance remains unexplained. So that's why you can see there is a difference in the commonalities value. Initially it was 1, but after extraction, it changed. So you need not to report all these things. Finally, you have to report the Scri plot, the point of inflection, which tells you that yes, you have to go for two fact extraction of 2 factors, and then you will go for this seeing that how they have loaded into how many components, and anything above 0.5 will load into a particular component and name it. Now to have better, you can say, better explanation of your or better interpretability of your scores, you can do the second thing. I have told that either you do the principal component analysis or exploratory factor analysis. It is done in 2 steps. First step is that you have to do factor extraction. So here we have done factor extraction. Second one is factor rotation. To improve the interpretability, you can go for factor rotation. Now this rotation is of 2 types: orthogonal rotation and the oblique rotation. So let me show you. If you go to analyze and dimension reduction factor, after extraction will come the rotation, and you will find Varimax, direct oblimin, Quantimax, Equamax, Promax, all these things you will get. So Varimax rotation is a kind of direct rotation, orthogonal rotation. Direct oblimin, Promax, Quantimax, Equamax, all these are a kind of oblique rotations. So the most commonly used.
So please explain it again.
See, for better interpretability, see, we do factor analysis, or means just keep in mind factor analysis. Don't divide it into principal component or exploratory factor analysis. We do it in 2 steps. First one is factor extraction. Second one is factor rotation. Factor extraction, already I have told two methods, principal component and exploratory. When to choose principal component? When the total variance is explained by a common variance. Like in my case, all the statements were measuring fear towards SPSS or SPSS anxiety. So all were sharing a common variance, so I used principal component analysis. So I have extracted my factors. Now, if I want to have a better interpretability, or if I want to have more better or more exact, you can say, output, then I should go for rotation also, the second step, factor rotation. Now, this factor rotation has different methods, right? Overall, factor rotation is divided into two parts. That is, there are two kind of factor rotations: oblique rotation, as orthogonal rotation, and oblique rotation. Now here you are finding written as Varimax, Quantimax, Equamax, Promax, Direct Oblique. So Varimax is the most popular orthogonal rotation, and Quantimax is also orthogonal rotation. These two are a kind of orthogonal rotation. Direct oblique, Equamax, and Promax are the kind of oblique rotations. Now, normally when we go for orthogonal rotation, then Varimax is the most used method. And when we go for oblique rotation, then direct oblique is one of the most used rotation. And when we should use uh, oblique rotation, when should we use orthogonal rotation? I will come to this. First, let me move on to the, let me see that I want to use this uh, Varimax rotation, and maximum iterations for convergence again 100, since we have taken 100. Continue. Okay. Now we'll get the component matrix as we got, and another thing you will get rotated component matrix. If you find that there is a significant change from component matrix to after rotation, if there is better change in the values, then you can use this for your factor loading. If not, then already we have done the factor extraction. Already we have uh, identified our factor. This is used to give us better interpretability. So if you compare these two, in the first case, there is no much change after rotation. In the second case, also there is no much change. This was loading to the second, we got it. Loading to the second. Third was loading nowhere, we left it. Fourth, no much change. Fifth, no much change. Sixth, seventh, eighth, no much change. So what we can do, that we can use this table, or if you want, you can use this table also. But rotated component matrix, sometimes what happens, that factor extraction is not only sufficient to tell you about which factors are loading in or are converging in, or which items are converging in which direction. Then we go for the second step, that is the rotated component matrix. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to the second method, that is uh, exploratory factor analysis. So if now it again it is a method of factor extraction, like principal component analysis. So if the total variance is explained by common variance as well as some unique variances, then we go for this method. That is the exploratory factor analysis. So whenever you are writing in your article that you have done exploratory factor analysis, by default, don't let principal component analysis be selected. You have to select from here, you have to select this prince in the method principal axis factoring. Then only it will be called as exploratory factor analysis. So for this was only 8 questions of those factors which were of those items which were sharing the common variance. So I'll take the full questionnaire, and the data is SAQ, SPSS anxiety questionnaire, the full questionnaire. So now we have 23 questions. Here, in the first one, I have taken only those 8 questions which were sharing a common variance. And if items are sharing a common variance, then you can go for principal component analysis. But in these 23 questions, few might be sharing common variances, and then there should be some unique variances also. So we will do exploratory factor analysis. So to run the analysis, procedure is the same: analyze, dimension reduction, factor, select all, click descriptives, click on univariate descriptives, initial solutions, coefficients, significance levels, determinant, KMO and Bartlett's test of sphericity, then inverse reproduced anti-image. In all this, the most important one is KMO and Bartlett's test of sphericity. KMO test tells you sample adequacy, that whether your sample size is adequate to do exploratory factor analysis or not. So for this, your KMO value should come to be more than 0.5. Remember, not 0.05, more than 0.5. And Bartlett test of sphericity should stand significant, means p value for it should be less than 0.000. Then only we can continue for exploratory factor analysis. So continue, then go for extraction. So in extraction, rather than principal component, you select principal axis factoring, then unrotated factor solution is scree plot, and eigenvalues here based on one total number of iterations. Again, I will keep it at 100 for convergence, having better interpretability. Continue, then go to rotation. Here I want to do orthogonal rotation, so I will take varimax, and maximum iterations 25. I am changing it to 30. Let's say, means you can change any values. Okay, I'm changing it to 30. You can put 50, whatever you want. That won't affect the results much. Don't keep it a low value. Always keep it a high value. So rather, I will, since we're there in extraction, I have taken 100. So here I will take 100, not less than what I have taken as extraction. In the rotation also, I'll take the same. Then you can click on scores. Now save as variables. Here you will find regression, Bartlett, Anderson, Rubin. Now the question is, which one you should choose? Whether we should go for regression, whether we should go for Bartlett, or whether we should go for Anderson, Rubin. So here I am taking Anderson, Rubin, and I will explain the reason behind it. And display factor score coefficient matrix is select this, continue, and then go in options. Options exclude cases pairwise, suppress small coefficients, I'll keep it as less than 0.4. Any coefficient less than 0.4 should be suppressed. So my cutoff value is 0.4. Continue. And then okay. So if you want to see the correlation matrix, you can see, okay. However, this is of no much use for you. The main thing is first look at the KMO and Bartlett. So KMO value is 0.930. What should be the minimum KMO value?
0.5.
So on that, we can say that our sample size adequacy is appropriate for conducting the exploratory factor analysis. Then Bartlett test of sphericity. What is the significance value?
0.000.
So means Bartlett's test of sphericity is significant, right?
Yes, sir.
So we can say that it's a good fit for doing uh, exploratory factor analysis. Now commonalities, you can see the initial and extracted. You need not to report this. Now here you will see, first let's come to this scree plot. Just give me idea what you see from this scree plot. How many factors should be taken?
Sir,
Yes,
inflection is at 2.
inflection is at 2. Anything else? Just look, observe more closely. Are you getting any more inference? Just look more closely, just observe it. Inflection is at 2, fine. Anything else? Can you see at 4 again it has increased and then sudden steep, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
If you see, however, if you see the inflection is not at 2, inflection happened after 3. At 4 again it increased. See, the inflection is occurring at 3. At 2 also, 3 also it is somewhere occurring, but at 4 it has increased, then sudden steep is after 4, number 1. So it gives you option either to retain 2 factors or 4 factors. Now, many of the authors are of the idea that if you have a large sample size, then you should go for minimum 4 factors. Our sample size is more than 2500. It's a very large sample size. So we will go for 4 for a safer side, because we can keep this. And if you just cross validate with this also, okay, you can see in first case our eigenvalue is 7.290, more than more than 1, and above 1 eigenvalue is always desirable. Then in second case, it's 1.739, then third 1.317, fourth 1.227. And you can see almost by using these four, 40% of the variance could be explained also. So why not keep these all fours? After that, you will see that it has dropped, the eigenvalues has dropped below 1. Till 4, if eigenvalues are supporting, means they are a good fit, more than 1, then we should take 4. You can see after this on the scree plot also inflection after 2, then at 4 it has increased. After 4 only there is a sudden steep. So you have the option either to keep 2 or factors or to keep 4 factors. But given the large sample size and if it is supported, let's keep 4 factors. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
If you want to leave it to 2 factors, that's also okay because the inflection is happening at 2. But if you are getting eigenvalues till 4, more than 1, eigenvalue should be more than 1, till 4 factor, then for safer side, keep the 4. And most of the authors, they are also of normally this uh, Kassermeyer and Olkin, they have given that given the large sample size, your number of extraction minimum that you should keep is 4. You can keep beyond 4, but our scree plot is not supporting. So scree plot, there is inflection at 2, then at 3 also there is inflection. At 4 it has increased, and after 4 there is a sudden steep. And here also you can see till 4 we have eigenvalue greater than 1, so we will keep 4 values. If you see the factor matrix, all have not loaded properly. Now see the rotated factor matrix. That's why I said if factor matrix, first see the factor matrix. Okay. In that case, in principal component analysis, we got component matrix. Here EFA we are doing, so we are getting factor matrix. Here you are saying, you can see that on 4th nothing has loaded. On 3 only 1 has loaded. Okay. And here we have get cut off at 0.4. So keep in mind that every value above 0.4 will be taken into account. Here also on 2, only 2 of them is 2 items are converging. Others are only converging at first one. This is not a good fit. So we will see at the rotated matrix for better interpretability. And you can see after rotation, see that table we got after factor extraction. This is we are getting after factor rotation. After rotation, you can see that there are lot of values that they have loaded on different factors. So now we have 4 factors. Let's see which one is loading on which. Factor 1. This is of not of our use. So which of them is loading on factor 1? Can anybody help me with this?
Sir, 1,
1,
3.
3.
It is negative.
4.
So 3.
4. 4.
Yes, sir.
Because we have taken the cutoff at 0.4, if you could remember. We have given suppress values that have coefficients less than 0.4. Okay.
So we'll take all above 4.4.
Yeah, all above 0.4.
Okay.
During the rotation, if you could remember, see, I'll show you. Whatever you are keeping, by default it will be 0.5. If you want to have more number of more number of items, then you can keep it at 0.4. By default, it's 0.3. So when I have gone for factor score generation, no options. Yeah. So suppress small coefficients means value below 0.4. Already I have given this. So any value above 4 will be counted. Then 1, 3, 4. After that, This one, people try to tell you that SPSS make statistics easier to understand, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
But let me see, it's is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Sir, we will ignore
8,
negative
9,
values.
10. Huh?
We will ignore negative values or we'll take it.
No, negative values you have to ignore.
Okay.
Only positive values more than 0.4.
Then 3 will not be there.
First, second. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah, 3 won't be there. So first and fourth, right? First
Yes, sir.
and fourth. Actually, the
Fifth.
first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Fifth will be there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. After that, second, third, fourth, fifth,
11th.
sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th. No, 11th
12th.
is 12th it is.
12th.
Let me
Yes.
check it is 12th or not, because 12, 12, 12. People try to tell you yes. So 12th. After that, I weep openly at the mention of central tendency. Which
16th and
question?
17th both.
16th and 17th.
17th.
16th and 17th. Both. Now, factor 2. Which one?
6th.
First, 6th,
6th. 7th.
7th. This is, I worry that I will cause. So 6th, 7th. After that, I worry.
This one, I worry and computer science.
Actually, 13 and 14,
13th.
right?
Yes, sir. 13th, 14th.
No, 13th,
14th.
14th. 13th, 14th. Then this one,
last
SPSS.
one. SPSS always crashes.
13th. 13th. Factor 3. Which are the determinants of factor 3? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh,
7th.
eighth, right?
Yes, sir.
Eighth one, I think this is
8th and then 11.
eighth and then
11.
11th. 11th. This one.
Yes,
I
sir.
slip into coma. 17th. 17th. Factor 3, then factor 4. Second,
Yes, sir. This
and
0.55.
my friends are better in statistics than me. Which one is this? 9th.
Yes, sir.
9th. Then this one. Then
Yes, sir.
I think this is 22nd.
Yes, sir.
So we have first fourth, fifth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You can see out of 23 statements, we were able to get 17 usable statements. Rest 6 we have dropped, right?
Yes, sir.
We started with 23 statements. First problem you see, we started with 23 statements, we made it on our own. We were not knowing that which of the statement is measuring which of the dimension. Second problem was there. Third problem was there that which of them is usable. So finally, when we have done factor analysis, we found that only these 17 statements are usable, and that too, they are measuring one particular dimension. So now let's start labeling factor 1. If you see all the items of factor 1, can you label them? Statistics makes me cry. Then, what were the items? 1, fourth, I dream that Pearson is attacking me with correlation coefficients. Then fifth, I don't understand statistics. Then 12th was people try to tell you that SPSS make statistics easier to understand, but it doesn't. Then 16th, I weep openly at the mention of central tendency. All these are telling you that factor 1 is all about
Statistics.
fear from statistics. Right? Now see factor 2. I have little experience of computers. All computers hate me. I worry that I will cause irreparable damage because of my incompetence with computers. Fear from computers. Factor 3. I have never been good at mathematics. I did badly in mathematics at school. I slip into coma whenever I see an equation. Fear from mathematics. Then, fourth one. My friends will think I am stupid for not being able to cope with SPSS. My friends are better in SPSS than me. My friends are better at SPSS than I am. All these are measuring fear of peer evaluation. How your friends will think about you. Now you got this?
Yes, sir.
So when we started with our 23 questions, we were not having any clue that which of the question is measuring which construct. So normally you have a variable to measure. To measure that variable, you have a construct, and to you measure that construct through items. But when we make the items, initially we are unable to decide that which of the construct will measure, which of the item will measure which of the construct. So what we do, we go for either principal component analysis or factor analysis, exploratory factor analysis based on our variance partition. That if total variance is explained by the common variance, then principal component. And if total variance is explained by unique variance and the common variance, then we will go for exploratory factor analysis. And finally, you can find that you have identified your constructs also, and which of the items are measuring which of the constructs, and also you can identify that which of them are usable, which are not usable, you can drop. So if I have to label this entire relationship, model this, I'll simply write like this. So let's say no, let's say item where was our this? Yeah, item 145 12 16. Item 1 4, item 4, item 5, item 12, item 12, item 16, item 17, item 17. Then we had second set of items 6, 7, 13, 14. Item 6, item 7, item 13, item 13, item 14, item 14, item 17, sorry, item 15. Then we have item 8, item 11. How come item 17 is coming in 2? Let's check. Something is wrong. And 3. For second, this is I slip into coma. This is item 17. It's in third, but how come it's coming in this? It shouldn't come. So we have taken first, fourth, fifth, 12th. After 12th, I keep openly at central mention of central tendency. It is 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. I can't sleep for thoughts for eigenvectors. This is 20 actually. We have taken it wrongly. It's not 17, 20. And even this statement, I wake up under my duvet thinking that I'm trapped. This question is 21. We have missed it out. So overall we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 items. 18 usable items. So we have 16, then 20 and 21 here. Item 20 and item 21. 6, 7, fine. Item 8, 11 and item 17. Item 17. And then we have 2, 9, 22. Item 2, item 9, item 22. Now, let's insert text. Well, it's not okay. construct 1, construct 2, construct 3, and finally construct 4. We already have identified our constructs for second, third, fourth. If I have to make a pictorial representation that why we have done EFA and how there is a unique variance and all. So now you can model it like or the main variable was SPSS anxiety. So this is the overall model that you will get. And see, here you can see, I was telling you the concept of the total variance and the common variance. See, all these four constructs share a common variance to explain SPSS anxiety. Further, this construct could be explained by individual different items that will be the unique variances. So finally, if you model this relationship, it will come like this. And I have talked about that when we choose the method, whether we should go for regression, Bartlett or Anderson-Rubin. So first thing is that this regression method, if you choose, it will produce scores that have a mean of 0 and variance equal to squared multiple correlation. So this will increase actually the correlation between the two scores. So it will increase the validity, but the scores can be somewhat biased. So if you are choosing a orthogonal rotation, like in our case, we have chosen Varimax, you can still have correlated factor scores. So for Bartlett method, the factor scores are highly correlated with its own factor and not with others, and they are an unbiased estimate of the two factor score. Therefore, it has its own merit. And Anderson-Rubin method perfectly scales the factor scores so that the estimated factor scores are uncorrelated with other factors. So when you are doing this orthogonal rotation, in our case, we have done our orthogonal rotation, that is the Varimax method. So we should use the Bartlett method if you want unbiased scores. Use the regression method if you want to maximize validity, and use Anderson-Rubin if you want the factor scores themselves to be correlated with other factor scores. So if you are choosing the orthogonal rotation, then you should decide that which of the method you have to use. Then you can say that Bartlett method, Anderson-Rubin method is the best method. However, if you are choosing oblique rotation like direct oblimin, then it is preferable to go with regression method. So based on the kind of rotation you are choosing, you should go for any of these methods. So normally when we choose this Varimax rotation, that is which is a kind of orthogonal rotation, then we go for Anderson-Rubin method. If you go for oblique rotations like Promax or direct oblique, then we can use regression method. So this was all about PCA and EFA, and